for Success, a special presentation brought to you by the Barbados Olympic Association as part of our International Men's Day celebration. I am your host for the next 60 minutes, Ronaldo Gilles, and joining me on the program will be a cadre of professionals who will be sharing their knowledge, experiences, expertise, and ideas as we aim to create the ideal toolkit to lead men on a successful journey. In the studio with me is educator, national athlete, and sports administrator, Kevin Morrow. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks for having me. Good evening, sir. Thanks for having me, man.
How you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. How about you?
I'm good. So let's talk about it. International Men's Day.
Yeah.
Firstly, what are your take about it? In 1994, Thomas Oakley identified the day as a day to commemorate men, to celebrate men, to observe men. But it grew more prominently in 1999 by a Trinidadian, Thomas Tulip Singh, a professor at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine. And he used it to commemorate his dad's birthday, celebrate his dad's birthday, but more importantly, to recognize men within a positive light within our society. What is your take on International Men's Day?
For our younger men to really look up to and try to aim towards that target.
Okay, so being an educator, as you know, there are very few, because I'm an educator as well, there are more females than males within the system of education. Yeah. How is it for you as a male within that profession? And more importantly, what is the relationship like between you and the boys within your setup at school?
A lot of my boys do not have male role models that they can really look up to. I have obviously taken the responsibility of making sure that I purport myself in a way that they can now have somebody that they can look up to. I mean, I'm not the only male at the school, but at least I'm offering them something. Okay, and what are some of the values that you could share with us that you try to evoke on those boys and share with those boys in an effort, most importantly, in the next couple of years, these boys are going to be men within our society who are going to be responsible for families, responsible for various areas within society. What values do you share with them? Well, most importantly, the Olympic values are really key in anything, realistically. We do have to focus on friendship, respect, and excellence. But additionally, I like to add on some from my sport, rugby, discipline and integrity as well, right? Because yes, we need to make sure the relationships, the friendships and the relationships that we have as males are strong, especially our relationships with females as well. And we also need to make sure we respect everybody and be true to our word when we're talking. And
it's super important that you mention relationships, because the theme for this year, International Men's Day, is better relations between men and women. And I know people say, we're hosting a program to celebrate International Men's Day. But as you and I know, there are many females within society who has helped to help men chart their path to success. And it's very important that we respect this theme and identify this theme of better relations between men and women. And I don't want to seem a bit too biased, but women, you are free to join in, give your 2 cents within the program. We have the comments open on Facebook and YouTube. We are very pleased to have you, or we'll be very pleased to have you as part of this program. Kevin, you also mentioned some of those other values, discipline and respect. Those things are very synonymous with confidence. How do we then aid these young gentlemen to achieve this measure of confidence, to go out there and perform their tasks comfortably and more so competently?
Well, I think the most important thing is to help them figure out what is they want to do. Because if you want to do something, you're going to go and do it, right? I find a lot of situations that exist are we push people in a direction instead of guiding them. So key to it would be making sure they understand what they want to do and then guiding them through the failures that they will go through some failures, and helping them to understand that these failures do not mean that you're incapable. These failures are routes for you to learn to be better and become more confident at what you're doing.
Oh, well, brilliantly said. And that leads us to introduce our first 2 presenters to the program. And as you mentioned, failure is inevitable. We will fail. But one person I know who will be able to help us charter through these times of failure and help us to bounce back or rebound, if you're to use sport lingo, to rebound and make better of it, is mindset coach, Mr. Paul Seeley. Now, short story about Paul. I first met Paul when I was at the Barbados Community College. I was about to use the gym, and he was always, and he still is, a very pleasant individual, always very positive within the speech. And to me, I think he has to be the coolest person I've ever met. Yeah? And the coolest person alongside, I would consider this other person who I met indirectly in community college. Let me tell you something. In community college, I had 2 T-shirts that made me feel like I was on top of the world, the most confident individual there is. And it was designed by this man that if there was a minister of fashion, he would be it.
Nice.
Mr. Raj Paul and Mr. Paul Seeley, welcome to the program.
Welcome, guys.
Thanks.
You see what I
Thanks
mean?
for having
Look at
us.
Raj. You see when you look at Raj, man. Good to have you guys. Good to have you guys. And it's just so funny. We have Raj Paul and Paul Seeley. Happy International Men's Day, first of all, gentlemen.
Thank you. Same to you, friend.
Right.
Thank you. Same to you guys.
Right. So, Paul, we go way back. We go way back, as I said, at BCC, and then you've also been a pivotal part of the National Football Federation in terms of doing some stuff with the girls' team and the boys' team. But what I want to ask you, per se, I used to refer to you as a sports psychologist, but I understand you're more so of a mindset coach. What is a mindset coach?
Or the distinction, I go by that because it is more than sports. And a mindset coach is really someone who facilitates change at the subconscious level. So we have subconsciously driven conversations to help people to pretty much get the goals they want. And if I can say a little bit about that, the reason why we don't get what we want is because we are kind of split brain about things. So my job is to help people to access both hemispheres so that they will work together to help people to get what they want. So that goes way beyond sports psychology.
Oh, okay. All right. And Raj, apart from fashion, I actually watched your TED Talk on YouTube the other day, and you're super pivotal with regards to your inspirational speeches and so on. You're way more than fashion. Tell us a bit more about your role within motivational speeches, and also how does your fashion or your expertise tie into that, and if it inspires your designs in any way.
Certainly, the opportunities that just came about from the fact that I was accepting my craft, these opportunities to talk to students, to talk to various people, various groups, and so on positivity, mindsets. It was kind of funny listening to Paul.
Yeah.
Right, but do that, right? I do that because it's just that the conduit is the fashion, is the style, and is the craft. I feel like that's something that means so much to me. It's one thing to make cool stuff, and it's another thing to make gear that. Just aesthetics. How we feel is so much influenced by how we look, how we present ourselves. Confidence is part of our whole construct. So it kind of is all sort of blown together, and I love that the opportunities are there because I feel like empowerment is really the bottom line of it all.
Yes.
It's like that's where we're really aiming for. That we are more empowered individuals. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah. So as I mentioned at BCC, I had 2 Raj Paul's T-shirts, and I felt like the most confident person whenever I had those shirts on. And confidence is one of those, as you mentioned, the conduit to success. So are there any particular tips that you can give us, Raj, with respect to male fashion, how we dress, or whatever the case may be, that would inspire us to be a bit more confident, and it would charge us towards a successful pathway?
Sure. As I was thinking out these questions and having a chat with my partner, one of the way the question was posed was, it said, dressing to improve self-confidence, and dressing for success. And I was thinking that, the one feeds the other, in terms of being successful, one certainly has to be competent. You have to have the skills, you have to have the knowledge, you have to have experience. You know what I'm saying? You have to have competence. But confidence is another part of that equation that has to come together to produce that success. And certainly one of the things that impacts our sense of confidence is really how we feel about ourselves. And related to that is how we present ourselves. So a few things I would like to sort of like zero in on a little bit, because in truth and in fact, I'm not really certain that there is any particular look for success. You know what I'm saying? A dress code for success or dress style. Certainly, there's a wide range of styles that anyone can use, can wear, that reflects one's personality and or interests or aspirations. That could be, you know, that various people wearing these different looks can be successful in. So what I wanted to kind of zero in on was more like what kind of consistent characteristics flow between all these different codes. And the first one that really is like up on my list, fam, is a great fit. You know, clothes that don't fit well, that look sloppy, that make you look disheveled, you know, that's like completely no to that. Even if you're only wearing a white shirt and a pair of black trousers, or you're limited in the scope of how you could express yourself stylistically. The one thing that you could try and make sure about though is that it fits well. And that might mean either buying specifically so that you have a great fit, or two, having a tailor who can improve the fit of what you already have. And a lot of people do that, go that route and get a tailor who can alter their clothing so that they have a better fit. Because a better fit just makes, I'm telling you, it communicates some kind of, you know what it communicates? It communicates care. It kind of says to the viewer, this person cares about how they appear. It means something to them that they are presented a certain kind of way. I just want to touch a little something that I observed last night. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with. My partner can remind me of the show that we were watching. It was a baking show. All right, it was a baking show. So these chefs are doing desserts, right? But the guy who was hosting this show, right, was a French baker who was, I mean, he just had on a white chef top, but the fit, fam, I was like just staring at this, thinking to myself, this is the best fitting chef top I've ever seen, right? Like I'm just like going over my mind about like, oh, this gentleman, and he's a top person. I said to myself, I could see he's competent, I could hear what he's saying, but he could have presented himself in a less sharp manner.
Yeah.
He could have done that.
So
Still be good fit, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you. See that extra care about like the fit is on point, the shoulders are right for me, it's not falling off, the leg, the sleeve is bent, you know what I'm saying, the neck is not gaping, all these kind of things to me communicated on this man is a real pro. This man really cares where he's coming from. The fit is number one.
Yeah. So Paul, with all that being said, and I realize that what Raj was saying has some kind of psychological bearing on the man himself or the person himself. What are some things that men can practice to continue to have that positive outlook, that positive mental wealth on their way to success?
Oh, so I have to stop taking notes now because Raj is sharing some really good stuff.
I know, right? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Bro,
Yes,
I'm listening to you, Paul. Let me talk.
The thing is, it's easier than we think. Have you ever thought about when you schedule things, you tend to get them done?
True.
So for men, and for everyone, but we're talking about men right now, design a schedule for winning your day. Design a schedule for winning your day. And I'll just explain a little bit about that.
Sure.
So think about the last thing you do before you go to bed. And when those last moments occur, you tend to wake up, in that same mindset, that same mind frame. Urge people to take care of the last hour of the day by reflecting on all those good things that happened during the day. Discipline yourself to only focus on those good things. Because when you go to bed, everything, and you awake in the morning, it kind of restarts and you continue that flow from the night before. So take care of that final hour of the day and just focus on all the good things that happen. Force yourself to focus on those good things. Even if you had a crappy day, focus on those good things, all those highlights, those things that made you feel alive, the accomplishments, how good you were with people, etc. When you wake up now, you already started that positive momentum. But as soon as you open your eyes, you want to start giving thanks. Giving thanks is the ultimate manifestation state, right beside love and oxygen. Right? So think about that.
Yeah.
So start expressing gratitude as soon as you wake up. Again,
Gratitude.
because whatever you focus on gets bigger, gets magnified. So when you focus on gratitude, you magnify gratitude. So then you start attracting more good to you. So that could look as several ways. You could get up, say your prayers to whoever you believe in, and start doing things. It comes in the form of meditation. You can work out. You can set your schedule for the day. So you want to set your days up for success. If you do that first thing in the morning when no one is up to disturb you, right? You already fill your cup, and you're so full that you can give to the world with the overflow. So what flows into the saucer? And then you navigate your day by doing the same thing. You look for highlights. You do something towards the attainment of your goals. And because we're talking about mental health, which I think is mental well-being, you take care of those elements that I call E, as in egg, SPIES, S-P-I-E-S. So each letter represents something. So E is the economic goals that you have for yourself. So you got to be building your wealth on a daily basis. The first S is spiritual. So how you deal with yourself and your purpose and interact with people, how you treat people and yourself in general. P is the physical, which speaks to what Raj was also saying, your lifestyle, how you eat, how you treat yourself, how you nurture your spirit. That's the physical, how you work out, your commitment to physical activity. Intellectual, learn something new every day or strengthen your current knowledge. Keep your mind open to learning new things. The emotional, we speak all about, because remember, if you manage your thoughts and if you have good thoughts, you can manage your emotions, because emotions are born out of thoughts. Think about it. Right? And the final S is the spiritual, right? So your life purpose. So you take care of those elements during the day. Do something toward the attainment of those 6 categories, and you're going to manage your mental health in a very, very powerful and healthy way.
Yeah, powerful stuff. I don't know if Raj has any special acronyms for us as we end this particular segment. So, Raj, we will end off with you. Any particular acronyms that we should know? Any special abbreviations?
I don't. You're so funny. I don't have any acronyms per se, but I do have. We have a little right. I have. I do love to say, and it's so curious to me. I can be real with you that so much of like the notes that I was making sounds like Paul's like advice, and I'm just saying he's on the mental health or mental health side. But my, one of the questions that I sent to me was, what's my bachelor? What's a bachelor? And the bachelor I love, and I've been using it and hashtagging it and sharing it, is mindset, is lifestyle. Mindset, lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? This mental health thing, a lot of focus is on that. Rightly so. Rightly so. As we become just beat it right. It's producing the life that we're experiencing. So mindset, like,
All right, and
Like
finally,
that.
before you go, Raj, where can I locate some of your T-shirts? I want to feel as though
Yeah.
I'm back in BCC again.
man, I love for you to get some of the new stuff, man. So pop on to, if you're on Instagram or Facebook, you can pop on the shop Raj Paul, SHOP. You know, Raj is RAJPAJ, shop. So shop Raj Paul, Instagram, Facebook, and there, what's happening, new stuff is happening. And I think you'd love it, bro. And thank you for feeling the feelings that you were feeling when you were rocking that
Hey,
gear.
man, I was in man at BCC with those T-shirts, man.
Bam, bam. You know, it's
Yeah.
like that. Listen, here it is, right? No doubt. It jumped me a little bit too. A lady sent me a message this week.
Yes.
Seeing the photos on our Instagram, the same shop where I follow on my personal page, that we just had shop for the Nationhood series for this one, we did the Nationhood series. So there's like a home T-shirt, there's the local, there's the what's it? I Heart Bakery, and the shop that in Spice Down at a small local account, and it's so beautiful. She was inspired to write the images, to write poems. And I was like, and it was such a beautiful poem. I was like, when this is finished, please send it to me because I'm going to post this up with a collage of images and so because I didn't expect that to happen. But those are the kind of things that happen when beauty impacts. So, yeah, I think
Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I wish we had way more time to discuss some more things with you guys, but I think the information that you linked to us and the viewers is invaluable. And maybe in another forum that we will have you guys again, especially I'm sure many people still ask you about your beard, Raj.
always, man. Always, man.
And Paul,
I don't usually have it way out like this there on the streets anymore because you know COVID and all and mask and everything.
yeah.
So they have it like tied up and thing, but you know we at home now. We outside, so we at home, so we can afford to let it rip.
Yeah. Well, thank you, gentlemen, and we thank you for the information you shared, and we look forward to having you again sometime in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Kevin,
Yeah, man.
we had the polls. I know you wanted to get to Raj with the beard, and
Yeah.
I guess he somehow inspired you to start to grow yours. Or
Yeah, he was part of my journey with his beard island beard balm actually. So that would have been the first beard product I ever used. So thank you again, Raj, for helping me to maximize on my beard potential.
yeah. But they mentioned information, and I mean kudos to our producer for pairing those two together.
Yeah,
that they
sure.
mentioned a lot of synonymous information and variables that influence each other. And how Raj was able to mention how the fit lends to people feeling good about themselves, and also giving what we say a good first impression.
Correct.
We say sometimes a good body and a good mind is a good pairing. And
Even look good, feel good. Simple
good, feel
stuff.
good.
Yeah, man.
And hearing Paul's abbreviation or acronym just now was very inspiring. But what stood out for me most was where he said, spend your last hours in the day thinking about what did well, or what you did well, or what good experiences you have. And then wake up in the morning with those same thoughts and initially just give thanks. And as you heard from Raj, he reiterated it, and put his fashion spin on it. Right? We're all married together, made sense.
It's true. Like I do have to say that when he was talking about that last hour before bed, I was there going through the past weeks or so about that last hour, and I realized, you know what? That's so true. The nights that when I go to sleep, I'm going to sleep in a good mood. I wake up, everything is good, and vice versa. And the nights that's not so good, I wake up in a great mood.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that actually make you feel in a very good mood is your appearance.
Yes.
Not just the clothes you wear, but also your physical, your physique, your physical presence.
Man.
And I believe our next two presenters, they are very pivotal to our physique, our health, whether it be our physical health or mental health, because one usually impacts the other,
Yes.
but more so based on their profession, what they do, that will lean towards developing better men. You wish to introduce them?
Yeah. We have Bakari Baskin coming in, and he's a father, a personal trainer, wellness coach, kettlebell instructor, and a youth basketball coach. And just like me, a dog lover, so we have some stuff we can talk about. We have Dr. Adrian Lord as well, who is a long-standing director of the Barbados Olympic Association, Inc. He is the founding president of the Barbados Sports Medicine Association, and he is currently the immediate past president of the Pan-African Sports Medicine Federation, the chairman of the National Anti-Doping Commission of Barbados, and vice chairman of the Caribbean Regional Anti-Doping Organization, having previously served from 1995 to 2019 as its first chairman. And honestly, Dr. Lord, you have a stacked roster, man. That's very impressive, huh?
Yeah. Internationally acclaimed, man. Once you're a Barbadian, you know.
Good
who
evening,
Dr. Lord
gentlemen.
is.
It's true.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening.
Happy
Dr. Lord, I
International
believe
Wednesday.
you're now on international duty.
Yes, I'm actually in Cali, Colombia. As I tell my friends, collecting urine. I was going to say that. Doing some anti-doping, medical and anti-doping duties. It's interesting in that this is in a pandemic. First time I've left Barbados since 2019. And I'm here working with the Medical Commission of the Pan American Pan Am Sports, which is responsible for all the medical aspects of the games, as well as the Anti-Doping Commission, and then a subcommittee of that commission too I chaired. So it has been a busy time, but I'm happy to be here and happy to serve the Americas.
All right. And Bakari, as Kevin mentioned, you're a dog lover. I'm sure he's pleased to hear that.
Very much so.
But more importantly, and fittingly within this segment, we are speaking about exercise. We know, especially within this pandemic, as Dr. Lord mentioned, I have actually seen more people exercising than I ever did prior to the pandemic. Is that a similar observation
That's
of
a
yours?
beautiful thing.
Is that a similar observation?
Definitely, people had more time to deal with had more time to allocate to exercising, so they did. They understood the importance of it, so they did. It also helped mentally for a lot of people coping with the lockdowns and the other stresses associated with the pandemic. Law, that kind of stuff. Entrepreneurs had more time to work out, so their mental state, it helped with the physical state, and that was a plus of the pandemic, if there could ever be such a thing.
Okay, so I have a question for both of you. Traditionally, and I've seen it because I go running all morning. I've been doing that for quite a while, and I will usually see more females participating in the morning exercise than the males. Dr. Lord, is this something that you have observed as well? Is it a case of women usually taking more care of their physical health more so than men? But Carrie, I guess you could also answer that question as well from your physiological development perspective, being a physical fitness trainer. So Dr. Lord, you could go first.
Yes, well, yeah, women do take better care of their bodies than men generally. But I myself am a victim of the pandemic. Victim in that, I've been involved in sports medicine for several years, several decades actually. And I've traveled to 6 Olympics, Paralympic Games, several other games, and watched the athletes. But I never ever represented Barbados as an athlete. I never ever represented my school as an athlete. But now, due to the pandemic, I myself, like Bakari said, have had more time to exercise, and I've lost a considerable amount of weight,
Nice.
20 pounds easily, as a result of walking, running, and I've been going to the gym. That has helped, and a number of people have also done so. We were on lockdown. I was locked in, and then as time emerged where you can go around the areas that you could have gone, I then did so, and did so successfully. So I'm an example of what the pandemic has done for me. As far as men, more women come to the doctors than men, and more women tend to make time for exercising. Now, we come into a society where men were the dominant forces, the father figures in some cases, and then we had mothers who acted as fathers as well. But women take better care of themselves. If you look at the number of persons who come to my office, you'll see more women than men. And why is this? Men are macho. Nothing goes wrong with us. We don't need to go to the doctor. If you go to the doctor, you're a sissy. Just like even in the pandemic, some people feel that they don't need to take the vaccine, or they don't need to wear a mask because they're saying that you're scared of this thing. We could fight it and beat it. So what I'm seeing out there on mornings, and why you're seeing people outside, because some people are not going into the gym at this time. Some people are outside walking or running, exercising, and therefore you're seeing a lot more. They don't have to go to work. They're working from home. They don't have to get up and rush to drop the children to school, so they have more time on mornings or evenings to exercise. So I'm seeing it as well.
Okay, what about you, Bakari? I know you do a bit of personal training. What has been the populace like? More women, more men. What has it been like for you?
Traditionally, more women have been members or utilized personal trainers than men, but you are seeing an uptick in male clients, probably linked to the benefits associated with exercise and fighting COVID and management and stuff now. Also, more doctors are referring male clients to come to the gym to help with the cholesterol, the pre-diabetes, the hypertension. All of these can be combated. Regular exercise, strength training, resistance training, stretching, cardiovascular training is definitely seeing an uptick in the guys, but we could always see more. Like Dr. Laura said, there is this tendency to be when men tend to think that they don't need any help from anybody. They can do it on their own. So we're trying to educate everyone to the benefits of exercise, benefits of proper supervision from exercise. Even if you don't train with the trainer every week, at least consult the trainer and see what program can be done up for you to help you with your specific needs, because it has to be specific to you. It's not enough to download a workout from bodybuilding.com when you have tight hip flexors, when you have a lower back injury, when you have tight hamstrings to sit at your day. So that's where the gym, and I mean, yes, there is the pandemic. So gyms are offering now, most gyms are offering outdoor training, they're offering online training, and there are other means that you can still benefit from that type of setting without physically. And that's where we are right now.
Okay, and Dr. Laurie, I wanted to speak to you specifically. I know it is a broad concept, a broad topic, and it came to mind when you mentioned about the macho nature of men. And as you said, we don't like to do a lot of health checks and go to the doctor and so on. But in recent time, there has been a mention of prostate cancer a little bit more frequently than it did before. How can men address prostate cancer? And secondly, do you find that more men are being tested for it now?
Yes, I think there's been an awareness, increasing awareness of prostate cancer. I am one to tell men all the time that no man should really die from prostate cancer. You can die with it, but not from it. It is something that can be easily detected, early detected, and treated and cured. But the digital finger test, digital examination, that helps. The PSA test. And men feel that a rectal examination is invasive. From the time I was 40, I went to get my checks every year. Obviously, I am aware of what's going on. But if you have a family history of prostate cancer, you should even more so get your prostate examination done. Nowadays, with the techniques that are available, you can have an ultrasound, you can have MRI of the prostate, you can have the PSA test, and all those things can detect and determine the stage of prostate cancer early so it can be cured even without surgery nowadays. So these are things that can be done, and they need to do that when they're having their physical examination. As was also said, we also do your blood pressure and cholesterol and so on. And then we need to look at another area. Over 50, we start to look at colorectal cancer, because that is the third most common cause of cancer in Barbados. It's prostate, breast, and colorectal cancer. So we need to also think about screening for colorectal cancer, and it's more common in men than women. So we need to look at that as well, as far as men's health is concerned.
So quickly, what age would you encourage young men to have that initial prostate exam?
Well, the initial prostate exam is usually at age 40, unless you had a close relative who died from prostate cancer or was diagnosed with prostate cancer in their 40s. Then you may start even earlier. But age 40 is that age. And when you go, you just not go for the prostate. You go for a full physical examination, checking your blood sugar, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, you check your heart, your abdomen, your circulation, and things of that nature, so that you have a comprehensive physical examination.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Laurie. And Bakari, apart from cancer and so on, there are some NCDs that, funny enough, that men are more susceptible to, that we believe that can be cured with good fitness and exercise. What is your expertise, and what knowledge can you share to men with regards to your field to eradicate the possibilities of those NCDs creeping into their lives?
Okay, well, as Paul said in his segment about planning your day, I advise everyone to plan their day and their week to include strength training, and some stretching. Every man out there should be doing it. It should take the wife or the girlfriend or the mom as well. It should be everybody. Take your buddies, schedule your day, get in your training. You want to be able to work at least 30 minutes. We do a lot of stuff with our day. We watch television series, we watch the news. All of these things now can be done while working out. There are TVs that you can turn on. There's your personal device, your laptop, your iPad, phone, whatever. You can multitask. You can work out while doing other things. So I implore everyone to make sure that they get in their physical training at least 3 to 4 times a week, at least minutes each time. You want to make it well-rounded. So you don't have to just walk. You can swim, you can run, you can do exercise, you can stretch. It's very, for men, we tend to be more flexible than ladies. It helps with testosterone levels, it helps confidence, it helps pressure, it helps you spend more time with your family. Is if there was a pill to allow us to live better lives, it would have all the same ingredients that exercise and working out and physical training has. So it's there, it's free, it's for everyone. Talk to your doctor if you have any pre-existing conditions. Then come see a fitness professional, or talk to your doctor about that as well. And just, it's the numbers for the NCDs in Barbados are really high compared to the rest of the world. Some of it is a lot of it is lifestyle, and a lot of it is being sedentary. So we need to really, guys, get out there, get a nice pair of gym shoes, because you want to take care of your feet. Put on some nice workout clothes, like Raj Paul says. You want to feel good, and get out there. It's all tied together. You concentrate better, you're more successful. There's if there was a pill, it would be exercise.
Right.
And just to summarize what he just said, exercise is medicine. And that is the prescription, the number one prescription that you give. Prevention is better than cure, and exercise helps to treat all of those medical conditions. And if you could keep them off of drugs, medication drugs, then exercise does it.
Exactly.
I couldn't say it better. Well, I just want to thank you two gentlemen, Kevin, I don't really want to convey any sentiments with what they have said.
I really wish we had some questions for them, some from the public. So I would like to encourage everybody who's watching, just drop some questions in the chat, and we'll make sure we pass them on as well. But gentlemen, I really do appreciate what you said, especially Dr. Lord. I am approaching the age of 40, so these are things I have to consider. So it's good to consider it now rather than later.
Yeah, and as he said, exercise is medication.
Exactly.
I like the way how you put that, and I mean that's just Dr. Lord with years of experience, array of expertise. I think he was fitting for that particular segment. And as Bakari said, if there was a pill for longevity and good health, it would be exercise. I mean, sadly enough, as I said, when I go exercise in the morning, the general or the majority of the population I see are females. I'm usually of the older bracket or the more experienced bracket. So to hear Dr. Lord and Bakari share sentiments and say, well, hey, men, you have to get up and get moving, especially as it relates to non-communicable diseases, which were the NCDs that Bakari mentioned. We want to eradicate stuff like obesity, high cholesterol. Sometimes as men, we are always on the go, going, trying to be providers, and sometimes we forget to look after ourselves.
Provide for ourselves.
And provide for ourselves as well. So we may eat poorly or subject ourselves to poor eating habits and not realize that, hey, we need to regulate this with some proper exercise.
I agree, man. Bakari, there was something you said there as well. Gentlemen, we can help one another. We can pull one another and work out together and make sure we exercise and take care of one another.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bakari.
Oh yes, definitely. There's the studies on working out physical exercise show that you get better responses in a group when it's a group effort. So it doesn't have to be a group effort. If with COVID and stuff, you might want to do it alone, just stay in your bubble. But definitely you get more success if you have a community to work with you, whether it be your household, whether it be your brother, a colleague at work, somebody from church, a childhood friend. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We all want to live longer. We all want to live healthier, and exercise will help with that.
All right. Parting words from you, Dr. Laurie.
Yes, thanks for having me this afternoon. Prevention, as I said, prevention is better than cure. We need to look after ourselves so we can look after the ladies and our children and our children's children, and keep our futures. We want to grow older but healthier. And what Bakari said is one of the ways that we can get to that goal.
Well, thank you for joining us, gentlemen. And we look forward to having you sometime in the near future. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Another engaging conversation. I mean, hour is such a hour goes by so quickly, as the saying goes. Time flies when you're having fun, innit?
Correct.
And each segment is giving us, as we would say, nuggets of knowledge that we could put within our toolbox. They're I would say, adequately fitting our tool belts or our toolkit as we go about our daily lives and well into the future as men. One of the things that has stood out for me so far from the four presenters is that they have really encouraged men to support men or to work together. And I think that's one of the things that we don't pay close attention to in our society. Quote unquote, being your brother's keeper. Is always somewhat of a competition.
Yes. Ego gets in the way regularly.
The ego gets in the way. So that particular segment or those particular sentiments have stood out for me from each of the four presenters. We're into what we consider the last lap. If I may use someone ring the bell with the final lap. Sadly, we're coming to the end of championing our men, equipping them for success. Again, presentation by the Barbados Olympic Association as we celebrate International Men's Day. 22 years, really, because as I mentioned earlier, Professor Tilak Singh, brought about the day so that we could observe it to recognize the positive efforts of men, also to promote role models, and recognize things such as health, wealth, and so on. And speaking about wealth,
Yes.
We're into our last segment where we're going to be speaking with two men who could actually assist us to reach wealthier, I should say a state of wealth.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
we know we can need that as teachers. Because everybody's belief is that teachers make a whole heap of money.
You're incorrect.
You are incorrect. So our next two guests are two gentlemen who are, I would say, pretty sound within the financial arena. One of them a former Olympian, national record champion. I would say one of the greatest athletes
Yeah,
to ever,
boy.
and you know him quite well.
Master record holder as well. Can't forget that one.
Exactly.
And Nicky would have sung with my brother when they would have been growing up.
Yes.
Oh, so-
Yeah, man.
All right, so who we're speaking of in particular is Mr. Nicky Nichols. He's one of our final guests, and we have the entrepreneur, representative, and owner of Odd Boy, Mr. Jamar Odwin. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good. Fine, thank you.
Like
Good to be here.
Jamar, as the old people would say, you still got your mother features, man. You like your mother. So I'll start with you, Jamar, because I mean, as young as you look, you're an entrepreneur. Like that's usually a big thing. Traditionally, like in society, and we hear entrepreneur, we often looking for a middle-aged, to older person, someone who would have been jumping through the hoops of finance and business and so on. But you, looking at you here, man, you still look like a teenager. How old are you?
I'm 29 actually.
Oh, whoa! And own your own business.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Tell me about Odd Boy. First of all, I assume the name comes from the name of the business comes from your surname. Mm-hmm. I'm correct in saying that?
Definitely.
And what spearheaded you
You're correct.
to start the business?
Well, I don't want to say that entrepreneurship is necessarily in my blood, but for me, it started from primary school. I had a Game Boy Color, and the only game I had was Super Mario. But if you guys remember Super Mario, in the early stages you have like 3 lives. So I used to, at the end of the term, I would take to school my Game Boy. You get 10 cents for a life. 25 cents gets you all 3 lives. Then by the time I got into secondary school, my uncle, he had been recently laid off from Tamarind Cove, and he started making juices. So what I would do is, the day before I would take orders, collect money, and the next day I would bring to school the juices. So technically, I wasn't actually selling at school because there was no, you weren't giving me money and getting a product at the same time. It was a different transaction. But then, by the time I got to CXCs, and I had the decision to make if I was going to go to sixth form or go to BCC. I had done sixth form because to me it was easier to wear a uniform to school than to kind of figure out what you're going to be wearing to school every day, because you still want to be different. You know, you want to look good at school, but you still don't want to look the same when you go out. And I wasn't too sure, like, kind of would be wearing at BCC. Funny enough, when I ended up at BCC was when we started Odd Boy. So my business partner Daniel and I, we are hit Odd Boy when we were at BCC, doing our associate degrees and then transitioning to our bachelor's in graphic design.
Nice. Nicky Nichols, man. I mean, when you say that name, you feel good about saying that name. I remember watching you at, I think it was the Sydney Olympics, if I'm correct. I remember watching you at the Sydney Olympics, and that time, it was you and Liam Mardale. Like, you had the whole of Barbados support you, man. Yeah, and I mean, right now I'm still starstruck to see Nicky Nichols because you're what we consider a big deal. And I'm kind of jealous of Kevin because Kevin said he knows you personally. But Nicky Nichols has transitioned from the pool into the business lifestyle, into the business room, into the boardroom. Tell me, Nicky, how has that transition been?
Hi, and good night again, and thank you. But before I start, I just want to mention I've been on a few teams with Dr. Lord, and I've never had accommodation like what he has there in Cali. So I need to get a CV like his. So if I go anywhere again, I will step up to that level. Understand. But yes, I started out as a swimmer, and in swimming, in my developmental stages, I always try to avoid being a big fish in small waters. So what I used to do I used to do a lot of analysis on how other swimmers in my age group internationally were doing. So I used to analyze times. So I was always looking at numbers. And that's how I got into economics and finance. And that's what I do now as a portfolio manager. I do a lot of fundamental analysis, and that was born from my analysis as a swimmer as to how to get better.
That's so cool, like how you transition the tools and then the experiences in swimming to make it into a business. Now, if you could simplify it for us, or make it a bit more layman with regards to how can the everyday man basically save and invest in the effort to, grow his wealth per se. What are some of the tips that you could give us that we could do daily in the effort to improve our wealth?
Right. Well, we have 10 minutes, so I'll try to compress as much of it as possible. But basically, the first thing, yes, the first thing you can do, or what you should do, is assess where you are in the life cycle stage of your life. So if you're between 18 and 50, you're in the accumulation phase. So you're starting to earn. You may have finished college, but still developing. Your earnings has a lot of potential to grow as you go forward. So as soon as you start earning, you should be looking to save some of that surplus cash that you get from your earnings to invest for the future. And then from the age of 50 and over is when you are preparing for retirement, and you have to assess your risk tolerance at that stage. So accumulation phase means you can take on more risk. Like my counterpart, 29, he's an entrepreneur. Perfect age to take that kind of risk. So if there's any setbacks, he has time to recover. Now, as we get older, closer to Lordy's age, you can't take on too much risk, right? You want to protect what you've accumulated. So that's one of the first things to look at. And then in terms of how do you put that surplus cash, or how do you assess your surplus cash? So the first thing to do, you can look at your account, your bank account, and look at your monthly opening and closing balances. So what I mean by that is if we start in March, your opening balance is $2,000, and then at the end of March, the closing balance is $2,500. You probably have $500 of surplus cash, and that's what should be invested in an investment vehicle. Now, I would advise most people, don't leave your surplus cash idle in a bank account. Reason being, at the moment, the deposit rate of return is between 0 and 0.1%. So basically, that's earning you nothing, right? So what you want to look for are funds that earn a higher return than that. And one of the best vehicles in Barbados right now are mutual funds. And they have varying mutual funds to meet your risk tolerance. So you have high growth funds, you have balanced funds, and then you have people who are not comfortable with taking too much risk. You have lower risk type investments. And all of those tend to earn a higher return than what you would get in a bank account. And then if you're struggling to see that you're getting surplus cash, there are certain things you can do. You can watch your subscriptions, because a lot of times we have a subscription because that particular one is low, but if you add up all of them, they can be quite costly. And then the other thing, monitor your entertainment expenses. During the pandemic, I know a lot of people have saved a lot of money because there was nowhere to go. There's no Kadooment and so on. I miss Kadooment, don't get me wrong. But some people go to every fete. You don't have to do that. So that's where you can pick up a lot of the savings that you're missing out on. So that's another way. And also, everyone is multi-talented, so you could have a side hustle. if I wanted to, I could do a little coaching on the side. That's for me in swimming. Other people can cook, they can make things. So those are other ways you can increase your savings for investment. And the other thing is, you want to respect a credit card. People disrespect the credit card all the time. What I mean by that is, first of all, never ever pay the minimum payment on your credit card. And if it is at the end of the month you can't pay your credit card in one go, it means you've overspent. So that's another thing to be aware of. And as I said, when you have these surplus levels of cash, speak to your financial advisor. If you don't have one, they have Sagicor, there's Fortress, there's Royal Fidelity. You can pick up the phone and call and say, this is the goals that I have. How do I go about doing it?
Oh, invaluable information, man. I mean, I believe, and Kevin, I also believe that we will use this advice more so, especially as it relates to the whole credit card part. I would be one guilty of abusing the credit card at some point. But I believe you had a question.
A question, yeah. We have a question coming out from Cedric Morrow, strangely enough. Ask Nikki, we want some tips on how young boys and men can keep themselves focused on their goals.
Well, funnily enough, you asked Raj if he had any acronyms. So I actually have one, and it is called GRASP. So GRASP. So the first one, and this can apply to life and your investing. So the first one is setting a goal. When you set an investment goal, it should be specific. It doesn't make sense saying I want to retire rich. That's not specific. What it should be, you can say I want to retire at 67 and I want to maintain my current standard of living. And then so that's a specific goal that you could work towards. So when your goals are specific, it makes it easier to be committed to it. And in setting the ultimate goal, you should have various milestones. Where do you want to be 5 years, 10 years? So, by setting those minimum goals, it doesn't make the end goal seem too impossible. And then the second letter, R, assess your risk tolerance. Are you at the accumulation stage? Are you a young person? So that means your risk tolerance should be quite high. If you're older, closer to retirement, it means your risk tolerance is low. And that would determine what types of investments you can make. So as an example, a young person in the accumulation phase, a lot of their investments, say for instance in a fund, could be geared towards stocks and equities. Whereas an older person, they would probably want to be in fixed rate type deposits and so on, which are less risky. And then the A is how you allocate your surplus cash. Where do you allocate it to mutual funds, to investment, real estate, insurance, and so on. And then you have selection and strategy, that's the S. So you have to go out and finally select which investment vehicle you want to use. And then the P is performance monitoring. It's no point having a goal and you don't monitor how you're doing, right? And it's the same for an athlete. There are certain milestones and certain performance ratings that you have to abide by and follow, and that will help you reach those ultimate goals.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Nahi. That is also very useful. So you had a heap of information and advice there, Jamar. I don't know if you've been aware of some of it before or have used it in your business before, but I want to ask you, especially as a youngster, still not 30 yet, like how difficult or how easy has it been to own your own business, and what benefits can you say are there to owning your own business?
Jamar, we're not hearing you. Go again?
Is that Nikki, can you speak first?
Right. So
Yeah,
you are.
I can hear Nikki. What about you? Try again, Jamar. Yeah, we're not getting your audio.
Well, I could just add one point.
Yeah, add one more point.
While Jamar
Yes, his audio.
gets
Sorry.
set again. For entrepreneurs, one of the most difficult things is getting startup capital. Banks tend not to lend to a startup business because the first thing they ask for is 3 years financial statement. And as an entrepreneur, it's like, well, I can't give you 3 years financial statements because I haven't started my business yet. They're trying to start now. So it would be interesting to hear how Jamar got over that hurdle. A lot of it starts with as those ideas I mentioned, your own savings. You start to when you're working, you're earning, and what you could be doing is saving for your true passion, which comes later down the line, where you can actually have your own startup capital and go into your business full time. But I would say that's one of the biggest hurdles for any entrepreneur is getting that startup capital. And the other thing or mistake that entrepreneurs make is not reinvesting into the business, and that's where discipline comes in. Especially when you start to get more successful, you don't want to pay yourself an exorbitant salary or start overindulging in material things. You want to be able to grow the business more, so you should reinvest in it to improve it, make it better, scale it up, and things like that.
Nice.
Good. You got a question, Kevin?
No question. Well, question for me, really, for you, Nikki. I know swimming has been a very big part of your life. What role does swimming play for you with regard to your mental health? I assume your job is a pretty stressful job, so I'm assuming you're using swimming to really assist yourself mentally. How does that go? Very quick.
Right. Well, it's a great question. Swimming or sport in general, it's a pressure situation, and what I mean by that is most people go to work. Their performance is not laid bare to the public. As an athlete, your performance is assessed by the public because they're watching you. They want to see how you do. So as an athlete, I got accustomed to that. So having that background and coming into the workplace made it much easier for me. So I wasn't afraid of making mistakes. Because mistakes is just a reason to learn from them. So that's what I would say as an athlete I brought into the workplace.
Awesome. So I believe we have Jamar back. Jamar, say something to us.
Hey.
Yeah, good.
Hey, there he is.
Can you hear me?
So,
Yeah,
I can hear you now. So as I was asking, Nikki shared some some valuable information with regards to business and which trickled into entrepreneurship somewhat. So I wanted to find out from you how challenging has it been to own your own business, and finally the benefits of owning your own business.
For us, the most challenging part was getting started because we actually tried to reach out to some organizations in terms of getting funds to help start the business. As Nikki would have said, it's very difficult as a young person, having not been in business before, to get finances to start a business. For us, I tried to start actually when I was at Queen's College going into BCC, and I applied to have a loan from a certain establishment. They took a while to get back to us. And then when they finally got back to us, then they told us they didn't see the business as a viable investment. And as you would imagine, as a young person trying to start a business, that would crush your spirits. But from there, I went home. I went through the phone book, pretty much just try to find anywhere that would be willing to take a risk with us. and that's when we had found out about the Barbados Youth Business Trust. So they were very pivotal in helping us get started. And as I was saying earlier, for most entrepreneurs, they say the biggest benefit to starting a business, having your own business, is controlling your own hours. And that's great because as a creative, especially, you may have a morning period where no inspiration might be coming. And then 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9, you may be getting ready to rest and wham, an idea hits you. And that's when you get going, So being able to control your own hours and not having to produce necessarily between 9 and 5 is a particular benefit. And the biggest benefit of all is making your own money. You're able to, when you go out there and you hustle, you push your own business, you know that all the money that's coming in is pretty much between yours and the business. And it's not a case where you maybe in a particular job, you see that whatever you've done brought in a couple $100,000 and you only get $2,500 when the month come, So there's lots of benefits to being an entrepreneur, and definitely something that a conversation that would definitely take a longer time. But yeah.
Well, I just want to say we appreciate your time, and sadly, we have come to the end of our segment and the end of our program. But I just want to say to both of you gentlemen, a hearty thank you for the information you would have shared, for the advice you would have given, and I can almost guarantee that the young men and experienced men will use it in the effort to make their lives better as we charter a path towards success. So once again, on behalf of Kevin and I just want to say a hearty thank you again.
Thanks, gentlemen.
You're welcome, and thank you guys for having us.
Thank you very much. Have a good independence.
Yeah, happy independence to both of you as well. So, Kevin, we've come to the end of what we'll consider very delightful and exciting, informative, entertaining at times. Dr. Larry kept us in a very typical Dr. Larry fashion. It's good to see Nikki again, a former athlete who has transitioned into the business field, and I feel so happy about that because, once you're an athlete, that's all sometimes people see you as, an athlete. Well, predominantly in our Barbadian society, not recognizing that we have a number of intellectuals who would have played sport and just simply use sport sometimes maybe to network, to challenge themselves, to create relationships and so on. So I was very impressed to see and to have Nikki on. I remember Bakari from coaching at Combermere. So they're not limited to just the sports field, as you saw. They were able to share information. We had information from fashion, mental wealth, which doesn't mean having or thinking about money. We had fitness, health, business entrepreneurship. So I believe the toolkit, if it's not full, it has more tools than it did before.
Agreed. One thing I would like to say, though, it is good to see Nikki and Bakari as former athletes being successful in business, because that transition from being an athlete to normal life, realistically, can be very difficult. So thank you for setting that example.
And thank you for taking part of your day to sit in with us to view the program. And hopefully that we would have left a lasting impression as we help our men on this International Men's Day, which was November 19th, to grow and make our society a better one. So on behalf of my co-host, Kevin Murrow, I have been your host, Ronaldo Jilts. Until next time, take care and happy independence.
Goodbye.